I'm Scott Allen Miller. It is the 27th of November, 2021. This is the Sheep Guarding Llama vlog, and today is Liesl, my eldest daughter's 13th birthday. Yes, I'm officially the father of a teenager. It is so hard to believe. Every parent says this. When your kid turns 13, holy cow, how could it have been so long, right? It seems like only yesterday we were having a baby, and now she's a teenager, which is kind of like an adult in a lot of ways. So Liesl and I stayed up late last night. I wished her happy birthday before going to bed. Today, Dominica's spending a lot of the day baking a cake because you can't buy cakes here. You really have to bake your own. It's you can get cakes, but you have to like go to Leon or something and order them, and it's a lot of work, and they're expensive. And you can't get them in town. So it's a lot of work for us compared to a lot of other places in the country. If we were in Managua or something, I could tell you where to get some awesome cakes. It'd be no big deal. So this morning, I got up and did the normal walking of the dogs, and then after I was back, I wasn't back for very long, and our internet went out. So I gave it a little bit, but it was out for a while. And of course the kids sleep in, so we weren't gonna do anything too much. So I said, I'm gonna go out for a photo walk and just enjoy it and get some exercise. So I took off for a couple hours. Dominica stayed with the dogs, and I walked all the way down to Ponaloya. I took the Olympus, because I have not had a chance to do a photo walk with the Olympus yet, and I didn't bring like lenses. The Olympus with the 45mm, which is a 90mm equivalent, so I was taking a short telephoto. F1.8, and just went for a walk down the street and took pretty much 200 pictures during the walk. Got some really nice stuff. I hung out at both Malecons, the Las Peñitas Malecon and the Ponaloya Malecon. It was down here towards the hotel, it was quite pleasant. When I started off, I was like, oh, it's nice out. It's probably 80, 85 degrees, somewhere in there. There's a little bit of breeze. It wasn't that bright a sun, but I took my hat just in case, and by the time I was halfway down to Ponaloya, it got really hot and really sunny, and boy, was I glad I had the hat. I burned the back of my neck as it was. Not burned, but got a little bit too much sun. And but it turned out really good. I think it was a really good photo session. The exercise was great. It was, I did several miles of walking in the heat, and it's nice walking without the dogs for a change, because they are just exhausting and they make it very, very hard to have a nice walk. And so that was great. It was really nice getting a chance to go out and just do photos, and I had no work that I could be doing. So it was kind of perfect. I have a hair in my mouth. So I did that, came back, and then the girls came, and since we couldn't do anything online, we couldn't watch anything, we played Nancy Drew for a little while, which was cool. And then when the internet did come back on in the late afternoon, it's like 4 or 5 o'clock, I would say, then Liesl and I watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine for a while, which is one of her all-time favorite shows. She loves that show. We try to watch it quite a bit, because it's one of my favorite shows as well. And it's one of those, it's had so many seasons that really, to us, it's kind of a recent show, and like Liesl hasn't really been into it for that long, but when you look back at its history, it's like, oh, this is a show that Dominica and I always watched. So Liesl really grew up with Brooklyn Nine-Nine being one of those shows always on in the background. So it's interesting now that it became a show that she fell in love with, and I think she identifies it as a culturally part of her life, and she really enjoys it. So she has never watched it from beginning to end, so she and I are working through it together. Dominica likes watching it, but not again, right? But Liesl and I are on season 3, working our way through the whole thing now that's on Netflix, and it really is awesome to watch again. Like, it's just such a good show, so well written. So we enjoyed that for several hours, and then something on the show prompted us to talk about some movies, and we're like, oh, The Game, we didn't get a chance to finish that, and she's like, yeah, let's do it. So we watched Michael Douglas's The Game. Michael Douglas, Sean Penn, really, really fantastic movie, and it made me really happy because Liesl really liked it, and that's a big deal, because this is a drama and a serious film from the 90s. Like I talk about how the 1990s were like the second coming of Hollywood, and they made movies in a completely different style and so much higher quality than they did in other eras, and that it's a very special thing So she watched one of these amazing 90s movies with no special effects, just great actors, great writing, great directing, and she really enjoyed it. So that was important for me because that was one of my all-time favorite movies, and it's something I identify with as part of my movie culture for me personally. So that was really fun. And during, while watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, they had mentioned it's a theme in the show that they talk about Nancy Meyers, who is the director of The Parent Trap. After doing The Parent Trap, she did the movie What Women Want, also a very good movie. We don't have access to that on Netflix, but it got us talking, and while checking to see if we did have access to the movie, we found What Men Want, which I have seen myself, but she has not seen. And she said, actually, I've seen the trailer for that, and it looked interesting. Bit of crazy driving here. And so we're like, you want to watch it? She's like, yeah. So we watched What Men Want on Netflix, which is not fantastic, but it's good, and we enjoyed that. And so we had a really fun evening hanging out together watching movies for her birthday. So that was really her big birthday thing. And really the internet was mostly just out while she was sleeping, so it wasn't that big of a deal for her. In the evening, for dinner, she asked for grilled salmon and rice and broccoli, so that's what we did for dinner. It was delicious, of course, and Dominica made a chocolate cake with vanilla frosting, not the most common combination, so that's what Liesl wanted. So we did cake and we did all that, and so Liesl's tough to shop for, and living in Nicaragua is tough to do shopping. The combination of things is she didn't really get anything for her birthday, but the one big thing that she did get, and it's not like we won't get her things, right? It's just there's no formal present system in a lot of cases. Really, the kids are raised a lot more as I would be, that I much prefer things when you need them, and much less of these saving presents for your birthday or Christmas kind of thing. I like the sentiment, but I don't like the system. It's very consumer, and it really encourages us to buy things that we don't need and to not get things when we need them so we can save them up so we can get them for presents. It's rough all around, and because of modern things, like most of the things they buy are like Steam games, well, you get them when they're on sale. You don't get them at Christmas. If you did that, you would pay 3 or 4 times as much. It would be insane how much money you would lose if you tried to participate in that system rather than just getting them when it makes sense. Anyway, that was a long explanation for her birthday. The big thing that she got is my old Nikon D90, which is the DSLR that we got for when she was born. She has always loved that camera, and it is the one that she's done photos walks with. She has coveted it for many years, and wow, I just watched people get bumped by a car because the car didn't move and the people didn't move, and they all just played chicken until they ran into each other. No one got hurt. It was just outrageously obnoxious how bad the traffic is and how obnoxious the people walking in the street are. I'm gonna turn around here and you can see all the people in the street who just didn't move and let the cars nudge them out of the way. So Liesl was really excited to get the Nikon. She's looking forward to getting to play with that. She also has the Kodak EasyShare V530, which no longer works. So this is actually, you know, I get a lot of flack for I buy a lot of cameras, and I do, I get it, but that was my 12 megapixel pocket camera for many years. It's what I used when I was on Wall Street. Love that camera. It's the one I had when Liesl was born. The sensor has died in it. So I got it all ready for Liesl. I got it charged up. I got a new SD card in it, and turned it on. And I had turned it on not that long ago, like 6 to 12 months ago, and it was working fine. Somewhere in the move to Nicaragua, the sensor doesn't work anymore. It comes on and the screen works fine. You can use the menus just fine, but when the sensor turns on, it just gets a crackly effect. She said she likes how it looks and she's gonna play with it and do some cool art stuff with it, so that's cool, but it's not a working camera anymore. That's unfortunate. The other Kodak EasyShare, the 10 megapixel one that used to be Dominica's, which is pink, is now Luciana's. They now have a charger for it. They now have SD cards in them. They now have them charged up, and they are with the D90. So they have all in a camera bin to protect them up in their room. So that is the big thing for her birthday at this stage anyway. And that was pretty much our day. It is weird and kind of really sad when your kid turns 13. It's where does the time go? And I can't even imagine what it's like for most parents. You know, I have been home almost continuously for both of their entire lives, right? There's only about 1 to 2 years when they were very young when I went to work. We've always been home together. They've always homeschooled. So the amount of time that we've gotten together is so extreme compared to normal kids. And we've done such interesting things together. You know, we backpacked around Europe when Liesl was tiny. We moved all around the world when she was little, and we are now living in Nicaragua when she was 12. And that's an awful lot of big adventure that we have done, you know, with her, and has spent so much time together. And if I feel like, oh my gosh, I've barely gotten any time with my kids, I can't even imagine what it's like for other people who get, in all honesty, 10% of the amount of time that I've gotten with my kids. I can't even, it's so out of my ken to really picture what normal, at least normal for the US, family relationships are like. I spend all my time with the kids, right? We play video games together, we watch shows together. I really don't play any video games or watch any shows without them. I save all of that stuff to do together. All of our travel, almost entirely, we do together. Like, everything is together. When we just went back to the States, together, right? Now, yesterday we took the day off and the kids stayed with the dogs and had Erica to help them out while we did a trip to Matagalpa. But we were really, from the time the kids woke up until we got back, I only missed like 6 hours, right? It was less than if they had gone to school for the day. And you always do your own thing part of the day, right? So it wasn't very big, and we hung out all evening. But yeah, so it's, for me, it's definitely where has the time gone? There's no more childhood Liesl. You know, she has been on the verge of adult for a long time. And at Thanksgiving 2 nights ago, you know, everybody remarked at like how much of an adult she is and how she doesn't take any flack from the adults, and she's very snarky and has this very adult sense of humor and interaction and everything. And it's very true. She's been old for a long time, but yeah, days like today, it really hits. All right, that is it for Liesl's birthday. She is 13, and this is November 2021. I'll see everybody tomorrow.